The Bear. I have been so obsessed with this show. Anybody who has spoken to me within the last, I would say, 60 days has had the misfortune of knowing that I am superly duperly into The Bear right now. Every waking thought is consumed with the bear. I go to a restaurant, I'm thinking about the bear. I literally see somebody being traumatized and having a panic attack. I'm not asking them, oh, what are 4 things you can smell, 5 things you can touch? I'm asking them, have you ever heard of Carmen Berzotto from Hulu and FX's The Bear? Like, I am not normal about this show. I'm the only person who can have a correct opinion on the show objectively. So, in honor of season 4 officially being out, we're going to go episode by episode and really track what's going on with the journeys of our favorite little bears. I'm specifically interested in focusing on the relationship between our two main characters because Sydney is a main character. Put some respect on her name. And I think season 4, we're able to see the growth of her character really come into fruition. The way episode 1 opens is honestly like really sweet. I love every time we get a Mikey flashback because I miss him. I never met him, but I miss him so bad. So to be able to see him in life and not necessarily at his worst moments, but back when he was just, you know what I'm saying, like in a better place than he was towards the end of his life is honestly so nice to see. What really got my goat on episode 1 was the first interaction between Carmi and Sydney. It's at the beginning of the episode basically, where he brings that tired, sorry gesture out of retirement. Little bro, that don't work no more. That worked when we thought we were going to have a conversation about it later. That worked when we still had trust. But we ain't got no trust anymore, so we don't care. And I like that Sydney gives him crap about it. She doesn't let him just do his little thing and be like, no, it's fine, it's okay, blah, 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 blah. But he's so genuinely odd and weird for being like, I like this. Little bro, don't don't PMO. Because when he says those things like that, it's in direct contrast to his actions. He says, I like this when it's just him and Sydney in the kitchen and it's calm and literally nothing else is going on but the two of them in their element. But you don't like her though.
Right,
Right.
right.
But as the episode goes on, we see that they are in dire straits as a restaurant, and there ain't no more money, mama. Carmi didn't ran through all the money because he doesn't know how numbers work, and he decides he wants to spend almost somebody's like entire, it's more than their monthly pay on butter. That's how much he wants to spend on butter, and he thinks that they're gonna have enough money to run this place for a significant amount of time. No. So the computer and Cicero come in and say, yo, this operation has got to cease. Unless a miracle happens, you guys aren't going to have a place of work anymore. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I would have already started going on the job board. Indeed.com would know my name like expeditiously. They could let Carmi have too much leash. They need to tighten the leash a little bit instead of letting him do whatever he thinks it takes to get a Michelin star, because there's going to be no restaurant to give a Michelin star if he keep acting that way. And Carmi also deeps this. He's like, wait a second. Maybe I messed up, guys. I don't know if the best word would be accountability, but low-key it's like, oh, he's starting to get it a little bit, which was really refreshing and really it made me feel hopeful in that moment. So it was just an enjoyable episode and it felt really like The Bear. We get to see a little bit more of Tina, where she goes to the farmers markets and the farmers basically flip the bird at her and they spit at her and they're like, your restaurant won't give us any money, you're not getting any of our crap. So Tina goes back. It was really interesting to see Sydney and Carmi actually have a conversation for once, where Carmi listened. We also get to see Sydney be the goat again,
where she's able to do the pasta dish that Carmi couldn't do in under 3 minutes. She is so good, so fast, and she has improved so much in such a short amount of time. It is genuinely astonishing and remarkable, and she is that girl. Episode 2 continues on the momentum from episode 1 and makes us feel like the restaurant is moving in a positive direction and that there's actual change happening. We're not stuck in this Groundhog Day type of stuff anymore. We're moving forward. For the first time ever, Carmi tastes one of Sydney's dishes and just declares it perfect right off the bat. So of course Sydney is incredibly pleased, and while this is happening, Ibra is in conversations with a business consultant type of person to help create more opportunity for the beef window. Things are moving, things are kicking. And then on top of that, Richie also gets a chance to shine in this episode where they're able to actually create such an amazing, magical sort of experience. We get to see how Richie has taken all of his training and is now able to apply it in a way that makes sense for the context of the restaurant now. They ain't got no budget to do nothing crazy or extra or super special. Using his resources and his prior knowledge, Richie is able to help cultivate an experience that is absolutely unforgettable for that family. And it made me really happy to see that, and I really like that. I didn't really like seeing Carmi run to Claire. After service, Carmi literally runs to Claire, and I knew he was going to run to Claire ever since I saw the trailer, but he runs to Claire, he knocks on her door, it's late at night, and they end up having this talking over each other argument where I'm kind of confused, honestly, and I'm not saying that what they were saying doesn't make sense. I'm just saying I wasn't getting it, and I don't care to either. But what was particularly stand out about this moment was that Carmi said I love you for the first time in this context. Like, I hate that so much. I hate that that is how Claire got an I love you, when her I love you was actually pretty sweet. It was just like on the phone, voicemail type ish. I think that was a bad decision to say I love you for the first time over voicemail. You're insane. But it's even more insaner to do with the way Carmi did. So maybe they're both crazy. I don't know. But he's talking about she makes him feel like he's on fire, which is really weird because fire is the stuff of his nightmares. Mikey once considered burning the beef down. Carmi constantly has like nightmares that are either interrupted by fire or that involve fire in some way. Even in season 1, when he went to light his cigarette on the gas burner on the stove, he is the type to look at fire and just stand in it and let himself get burned. But that's not good. And even when he's talking to Claire and telling her that she makes him feel like he's on fire, she's like, get away from me then? And he's like, no, I like it. I like it, mamacita. Like, give me more. And it's like, what is... It doesn't make any sense. It feels self-destructive. This love confession doesn't feel romantic. It doesn't feel happy. And I think that is further supported by Claire being like, okay, whatever, I'm going back inside. But it was nice to see him actually try to take some level of accountability and try to reconcile and mend the relationships that were hurt in the previous Worms. The best episode. We get to see Sydney not just be in the kitchen and blah 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 blah, or not just with her dad. We get to see that Sydney has other people in her life. She's getting her hair braided, you know, the classic box braid. She doesn't do no knotless with the little blonde tips at the end. The peekaboo, 613 peekaboo 1B bust down jet black. Like, ain't nobody doing it like her. So she's posted up cute in a mug in her little apartment, unbraiding her hair, watching her show, when this irritating grating voice comes in, Shapiro, and he's calling her, talking about, it'll only take an hour or so for you to get your hair done right. I really want you to see the place today and get in the space and feel the vibe. And it's just like, bro, if she says that she's busy, she's busy. Stop trying to force her to come see the space. This makes it so clear that she is even considering the Shapiro thing out of a feeling of obligation, out of the feeling that this is the smart or right thing to do. Because objectively, the Bear is a crazy place to work. The bear is not a safe working environment, as demonstrated from the day that she walked into the beef. Like, it doesn't make sense for her to stay there. So, of course, she should go see this new place with this guy who specifically wanted her. Instead of her going to find a person she wanted to work with, somebody came and wanted to work with her. So she goes, she sees a place, even though it's inconvenient, and he's like being really weird and microaggressive. Like, why are you playing this rap music? Why are you wearing camo pants? Why are you standing that close? I feel claustrophobic. Like, the whole thing feels uncomfortable and awkward and not true to who Sydney is. We end the episode not really knowing what path Sydney is going to take, but it feels like she feels more right in her decision, regardless of which one she makes. She feels more steady in. Episode 5 was episode 5. I didn't like it very much. I'm not saying it was a bad episode, I just didn't like it very much. The highlight for me was seeing Luca, yes, Marcus's boyfriend. We're so bad. It was really cool that they were able to just sneak Luca back in there because, like, let's be real, he has no business still being there. They just wanted to have an excuse to have him up in the mix, and I'm fine with Carmi meets his niece for the first time. That was really cute to see. But what I hated seeing was that Sydney's dad had a heart attack. That sucked. It was foreshadowed a little bit in a previous episode when I'm pretty sure they talked on the phone for a little bit and he was like, cough, cough, I'm sick or something like that. But a heart attack is crazy. And I didn't really like that. But it was also a good chance for us to see the way that Sydney reacts when she's in a situation where she has to depend on others, because Carmen was like trying to be there for her. What was also really nice to see is Carmi commit further to changing for the better. He said, we are going to have a set menu, and it was wrong for me to just want to change it every day because it wasn't what's best for the restaurant. It was more about challenging myself. I think being able to admit that shows that he has gone through some growth, and that's really important to be able to, for him to be able to make progress. The highlight of episode 6 was probably the acting performance of Io, because she did such a great job. Like, it was actually so emotional. I almost like started crying with her because she goes to the hospital. Sydney goes to the hospital after her dad has the heart attack and she's stressed out of her mind. She went by, but while she is in the sort of waiting area, Claire runs into her and they end up having a conversation, and she just kind of breaks down and is actually vulnerable in front of somebody. Instead of deflecting or not answering questions, she just lets it all out for the first time. It was very random, I felt like, to have that happen with Claire. It makes sense that she would be at the hospital because Claire is a doctor. Stop calling her a nurse. She is a doctor. It's like, did they have to go to Claire's hospital, the one that Claire, and did Claire have to comfort her? I don't know if that was necessary either. So a lot of valid critiques have came out talking about how, why did they have to use a black character's pain to try and make more people like the white character more? We have constantly been having conversations in the bear fandom space where it kind of feels like Claire isn't a real person in the same way all the other characters feel like real people. So to make her feel more real, you make Sydney's dad have a heart attack? Like, art? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's the wedding episode, and I think it was low-key overly long to me at some points. I know. How do I love this show but also say that it's overly long? I don't know. I'm not mad that they did another table scene where everybody got under the table. I don't think that was that bad. It was really cute to kind of see people be there and support one another. I think the title of this episode is Bears, and I do think that this episode is truly about family. We get to see Richie figure out how to accept this new phase in relation to that. It's a lot to take in. It's really great to see this growth that has occurred from when we first heard about Frank as just like a offhanded mention to now getting to know Frank as more of a person. And here's the thing, it's gonna sound controversial, I know, but I think I like Frank more than I like Claire because he just seems so like endearing and earnest. And I think we kind of got a natural build to getting to know him in comparison to how we got to know Claire. It felt like Claire was kind of just spawned in and the world was built around her to make her make sense, versus Frank already like existed and we were just able to become a little bit curious about him. But if I talked about Frank from The Bear, most people probably wouldn't even know what I was talking about because he's not that big of a character, you know what I'm saying? But we get to see a lot of family relationships. We get to see Carmy have that conversation with Lee, and I think that was incredibly impactful because let's be real, Carmy doesn't have that much self-confidence, and a lot of his confidence came from his family and especially his older brother. They kind of fell out of communication. So to know that my brother was talking about me when I wasn't there, like that is a type of feeling that doesn't just go away. And I think Lee's words are going to stay with him for a while in a good way. I also thought it was interesting that they showed us Sydney talking to Donna over, like, maybe Nat talking to Donna or Claire you know what I'm saying? These other important figures in Carmy's life. And the conversation that Donna and Sid had was also very interesting because let's be real, Sydney still has so much love for the bear, so much love for Carmy. She was low-key glazing. She was low-key being a glazer. And I feel like Donna peeped that. But at the same time, it wasn't like Sydney was overdoing it either. Like, she was just being #factual. So it was a sweet episode. I was kind of mad that Carmy didn't compliment the way that Sid was. And I think everybody should have been like, who's this gorgeous girl? Oh, this is the pretty girl you work with? Or, oh, I see why you're always in that kitchen. I wanted to hear stuff like that because I am an IO glazer. I can't help it. Episode 8 starts off with a really like trippy but interesting sequence that parallels Carmy's dream sequence from season 1, where we kind of get a view into Sydney's mind, and finally at the end we can kind of see this level of calmness. And in the preceding scenes we're able to see that Sydney has reached a level of clarity when it comes to her decision about should I stay or should I go, give me the truth, giving very much let it shine. Shapiro, no. Shapiro crashes out. Who shocked? Because he never really liked her to begin with. He just liked taking stuff. He just liked probably being able to have a black face on his restaurant. But he didn't care about her as a person. The restaurant is doing better. Things are looking good. And Carmy is in a better space probably, I would say, where he's able to actually go to his mom's. I was scared when he said he was going to his mom's because he had an anxiety attack from just seeing her at the wedding. So what are we supposed to do with that? But it actually went way better than expected. This kind of seemed like a traumatized kid's fantasy where your parent who traumatized you actually apologized. Like, that's how you know that this show is fiction. That would never happen in real life. It was nice to see that Donna isn't just changing and saying that she's changing and going back to her old ways. She's genuinely like trying to change, and she knows that she messed up. And for Donna to call Richie one of her kids as well, that means a lot, especially because we know that Richie has this wound that people don't actually want to keep him around, that people could just drop him at any moment, that he isn't as valuable as he would like to be to other people's lives. So to know that he's valued as much should be brought up in this conversation when Donna really doesn't even have to bring him up. But the fact that he was brought up shows how much he means to the Berzotto family. It was weird that Claire's sweatshirt was at Carmy's mom's house when Carmy and Claire never dated in the past. They were just family friends. And Carmy hasn't been to his mom's house with Claire in forever. It's just like, how did the sweatshirt get there? I don't know how the sweatshirt got there, but there was a sweatshirt there. And Claire asked for it back. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that they're going to be together, but I think if Claire gets with Carmy again, she's a little bit stupid. She's a doctor, but she would be a little bit stupid to get with Carmy again because Carmy was a really terrible boyfriend to her. I'm not talking about the fridge scene, because in the fridge he didn't even know that she was around, and he was just like spewing his own like self sabotaging type of hate. But in terms of like, she's not my girlfriend. She's just a girl who's a friend. Kill her. Like, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Because what do you mean? That's your situationship? Is your situationship that you're leaving me with all this work for? She better be your wife if you're going to leave me to build your restaurant to go be with her. That just made me mad all over again. But yeah, Claire shouldn't get back together with him. They'll probably get back together. I'm going to be so real. Episode 8 and episode 9 kind of meshed together for me. I'm only human after all. But the gist is basically the same. She's apologizing, and Carmi is like doing his girl who's gonna be okay face. Like, it's all good in the hood. What was especially cool about episode 9 is that Marcus gets an award. Marcus won something. He's one of the best new chefs, and it was so well deserved. Nobody deserved it more than him except Sydney, probably. I thought it was gonna be Sydney, but it wasn't. And it's fine. But I think Marcus just has a really incredible story. His success is just out of pure passion, pure love of the game. Love of the game that got him cussed out during service before, but he didn't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. What was also funny in relation to Marcus is the jealousy that Marcus's roommate has towards Luca. Like, he knows that Marcus and Luca are basically boyfriends, but he's not happy about it because Chester is like, Marcus is my boyfriend. Like, hello? So I'm excited to see where they go. Hashtag make Marcus Luca real 2026. 100 emoji. Episode 10 is truly the episode of the season. Like, everything comes to a head. Carmi finds out that Sydney knows that Carmi is planning on leaving. Sydney finds out that Carmi knows that Sydney was planning on leaving, but then Carmi finds out that Sydney is planning on staying now, even though she never told him that she was even considering leaving. And they get into a whole fight about it. And I think that this is one of those episodes, if you like plays, like theater, I think you'll really like this episode just based on the blocking of it all. There isn't a whole bunch of shots of the city of Chicago, and we're not going to 12 bajillion people's houses or going to all these different places. It's really, really centered and grounded in the characters. So Sid crashes out. Valid crash out. Carmi is crashing out a little bit back, but he's just making it so clear that he's trying to break the cycle by also contributing to the cycle. I think Carmi is a little bit insane when he said, I thought you'd be psyched. He sounds like how he sounded in season 2 when he was talking about, like, isn't this what you wanted? I gave you what you wanted. Blah, 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 blah. All she wanted was you. Ooh. Like, come on, Paramore. Like, all she wanted was to work together with you. So if you're telling her that you're leaving, no, she's not going to be psyched. But he's also thinking, she hates me. Everybody hates me. You know what I mean? Like, he's in his hashtag depressed era. It was hard to obviously see that Sid felt like she was being abandoned. It's not just the abandonment wound, but it's also the fear of failure coming. So the hopes and the dreams are shattering and being crushed right before her, and they're not being crushed by any outside entity. It's not because Cicero said, Carmi, go F yourself. It's not because of any of those things. It's because Carmi is choosing to back out of this agreement that they both wanted to walk into. But at the same time, it wasn't like Sydney ever really jumped in. She never really dove in. She never really took that leap in terms of the contractual agreement, but when it comes to dedication to the restaurant, she took the leap completely. So it's wishy-washy. It's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. The same sort of thing that she is upset with Carmi for, the changing of his mind, the going back and forth, all those things. They both have not fully committed and followed through on their word, so they both are unable to trust each other. So then Richie comes forward, and I think Carmi and Richie are going to be able to have such a better relationship because They're both able to see the context of why they even had problems with each other to begin with, why there was conflict. And it's not no snide remarks and this and that. They're finally actually having a conversation. And I think by the end of it, while Sydney may not be happy with him, I think Sydney will come to understand why he did what he did. But at the end of the day, she will always be right for not liking how he did it, because he didn't have to do it that way. He always had the option to have a conversation with her. Even if it was on an off day, call her up, say, hey, can we get coffee? I need to talk to you about. I low-key did feel depressed when they said that there's going to be a season 5, because at the end of the day, I'm tired of all the debate. I'm tired of all the stuckness. I want more stuff to happen. And to be so real, people are like, oh, why do so many people ship Sid Carmi? I don't like the ship, whatever. Baby, the promo team is trying to get us to ship Sid Carmi. The editing team is trying to get us to ship it. The actors, the writers, the whoever, they may say whatever they want to say, but we are getting fed propaganda. Why are you always posting these things that make it seem like Sydney and Carmi and their relationship matter if you're going to tell us that the relationship doesn't matter 2 seconds later? It's important that what we're seeing is matching up what's being said. I think some viewers are taking what's being said and only taking what's being said, but they're not paying attention to what they're literally showing us on the screen. And I think there is an intentional misleading happening. Do I think that Sid and Carmi are going to be canon season 5? No. I think the best that we're probably going to get is an implied possibility of romance, or just like an implied possibility of attraction. But I think it's absolutely dastardly and disgusting to say that Carmi would never even be attracted to Sydney. Like, she isn't pretty. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to say, don't ever come for my girl's look, because she is gorgeous. 1. 2, she has a magnetic personality and she's incredibly fun to be around and everybody loves her. The same way Carmi said that there's people in there who would jump in front of a bus for you or whatever he said. Like, everybody loves her. So just because you're racist, just because you find Sydney annoying, all that other stuff, doesn't mean that Carmi feels the same way. Your favorite traumatized, mentally ill white chef guy does not feel the same way as you. He loves that girl, whether it be romantic, platonic, or some secret third thing. I'm actually terrified about what Christopher and the gang is going to get up to in terms of the writing room, but you know I'm going to be sad. And there's probably going to be another video like this. And if there's a certain type of the bear video that you've been wanting to see, but it's been kind of hard to find, because most of the people who talk about the bear on YouTube who I can find are like white dudes. No offense, but I don't want to hear your opinion all the time. So like, definitely let me know if there's some unexplored topics that you want to dive. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you next time. Bye.